Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Richie here, flying the Eurostar EV-97, and before we even get into the flight, I've got to start with this. A massive shout out to my mate Neil down in Eshott, who picked me up before I took off. He handed me a full bag of fresh stotties, proper northeast goodies, and after we'd just demolished a class scran, gammon, chips, the works, had a full life catch up, a bit of a laugh, and honestly it set the whole day right. Good food, good mate, and then straight into a flight back to Scotland. Absolute perfection. So with the stotties stored in the back and the Eurostar fueled up and ready, we're heading north today from Eshott up to Perth. It's a gorgeous route, loads to see along the way, and I'll talk you through the scenery, the airspace and everything interesting en route. Right, let's get airborne and enjoy the ride. So right now we're just about to depart Eshott runway 19. Eshott is such a friendly airfield, proper GA vibe, also something going on, and it's a really nice and easy one to get in and out of. Once airborne here, the climb out is straightforward and you're typically heading northwest or north depending on your route. In the Eurostar, the acceleration's quick, the climb performance is punchy, and she just settles into a really comfortable cruise as we leave the circuit. You can already see how open the area becomes. Loads of farmland, rolling terrain, and then we'll start picking up the coastline as we swing north.
Taking off runway 19, heading to Perth, Victor Victor.
We'll climb up to about 3,000 to 4,000 feet, which is a nice height for this route. You're clear of most obstacles, below controlled airspace, and you'll get brilliant visibility. I've got Perth set up in Sky Demon. The route line is really straightforward and the weather is nice enough today to keep everything visual and chilled with a few low clouds. One thing I'll always love about the Eurostar is how light the controls are. It's such an hands-on aircraft. You'll barely need trim, tiny inputs, keep the aircraft exactly where you want it, and it just feels so much fun. Even on the longer legs like this, it's never tiring.
Sierra Delta, final 19 graph. Traffic, Golf Tango, India, Victor Victor, leaving the circuit, will contact Scottish 119.875. Thanks, Sierra. Victor Victor. And Golf Victor Sierra's crosswind 19.
As we track north, you'll see the coastline on the right hand side of the aircraft. Northumberland is stunning from the air. Long sandy beaches, dunes, castles dotted here and there. And places like Almouth, Amble and Warkworth are off on the flight. And as we keep continuing climbing, and settle into the cruise. And over to the right inland, you've got miles of quiet countryside, sparse villages, farmland, patches of woodland. This is a part of the world where GA flying really shines. Barely any noise, barely any airspace to worry about, and loads of places to safely ditch if the engine ever fancies a day off.
7401, basic service, Golf Victor Victor, thank you.
Golf Zulu from Scottish Information Radio check. And carrier wave only, was that you, Golf Zulu uniform?
Golf Zulu uniform, perform your readability strength.
Golf Zulu uniform, roger, did you copy that traffic departing Eshott going to the north?
APM traffic copy, Golf Zulu uniform.
Roger.
Up ahead is Alnwick, and famous for its castle, which of course everyone now knows because of Harry Potter. From up here, it's a really impressive structure, perched slightly elevated with the river wrapping around it, and you also notice the terrain slowly beginning to rise. The further north you go, the more the Cheviot Hills start appearing ahead, and these hills form a natural barrier between England and Scotland, and they look fantastic from the air. This is where I start planning my crossing of the Cheviots on my route direct towards the coast of North Berwick. The Cheviot Hills are brilliant scenery from above, rolling green ridges, steep valleys, and some of the quietest land in the UK. There's barely a road, barely a farm, and just miles of remote land. At this point, I'm normally climbing straight and taking myself to around 4,000 feet just to add a margin for terrain. As you look ahead, the highest point is the Cheviot itself at around 2,600 feet, so maintaining 3,000 plus keeps things comfortable. The Eurostar handles this easily, and on a clear day you can see all the way to the Firth of the Forth in the distance. The weather over the hills can bubble and shift, especially with the thermals if it's sunny, so you'll sometimes get a few lumps. Nothing major, just typical hill lift and sink.
Golf Sierra Oscar, report your estimate for Alexandria.
Stand by, Golf Leo Foxtrot, Sierra Oscar. Estimate for Alexandria is roughly minute 40, Golf Leon Foxtrot, Sierra Oscar.
Golf Sierra Oscar, roger, thank you.
In some time we'll pass over the ridgeline and officially cross over back into Scotland. Below us lies miles of open moorland, followed by the river systems feeding down towards the Kelso and Coldstream. The visibility today is lovely. You can see the shapes of the hills dropping down into the flatter farmland. And then you got the coast of Berwick upon Tweed. Although it's a little bit cloudy, and at this point I'm keeping a good eye on fuel, engine temperatures, and just letting the aircraft do the work. It's a perfect stretch to relax and just enjoy the views.
So I went to Eshott today. I visited my mate Neil. Went to a pub, had some food, no beer obviously. But, what a little great flight.
Golf Sierra Oscar report passing a beam Stirling.
I'm just heading back to Perth now.
Golf Alpha Sierra Zulu uniform, changing radio frequency to Eshott radio 122.855.
Golf Zulu uniform, squawk conspicuity, free call Eshott radio 122.855. Goodbye.
Squawk conspicuity, thank you, goodbye. Golf Zulu uniform.
Once we're properly into the borders, the landscape changes again. Farmland, patchwork fields, smile quiet towns to the west. The hills continue rolling into the southern uplands, but ahead the land becomes flatter and much more suitable for emergency landing options. This is a route where your situational awareness stays relaxed. Not many controlled areas, no real danger zones, just keeping clear of Edinburgh's airspace off to the west later. For now, it's just a smooth cruise as we make progress north.
Scottish, Golf India Papa.
Golf India Papa Scottish.
India Papa is approaching Stirling and returning to Cumbernauld, changing to Cumbernauld on 120.605.
Golf India Papa Roger, squawk conspicuity. Goodbye.
Squawk conspicuity, thank you, India Papa.
Couldn't shut that bloody
Golf Charlie Kilo Roger, report your level. Golf Charlie Kilo Roger, report your level. Golf Charlie Kilo Roger. Golf Sierra Oscar, traffic information for you.
I'm here, Golf Sierra Oscar.
Golf Sierra Oscar is a single squirrel overhead Loch Lomond at the moment, last reporting 1,500 feet, routing towards Fife.
And now you'll start to see the areas around Lauder and Earlston. Edinburgh is far away to the northwest, but this is usually where I double check my lateral spacing from the Edinburgh CTA and CTR sectors. If you drift too far west, you can end up climbing into controlled airspace without meaning to. So staying on track keeps everything safe. Sky Demon makes it simple. One glance and you can see exactly where you are in relation to any boundaries. The terrain here becomes gently rolling, shallow valleys, small forestry plantations and long stretches of farmland.
Golf Sierra Echo, report your position and level.
Golf Golf Sierra Echoes, altitude is 1,800 on 1002 and about 3 miles north of Cooper.
Golf Sierra Oscar, roger, break, Golf Mike Romeo, report your position and level. Golf Mike Romeo, roger, did you copy the other traffic? I heard the position but not the altitude, Golf Mike Romeo. 1,800 feet. Copy, visual, Golf Mike Romeo. Golf Sierra Echo, did you copy the traffic?
Copy the traffic, Sierra Echo. Golf Sierra Echoes, overhead Cooper Angus.
So after I've took a couple of selfie photos, we're moving towards the Galashiels area, which is off to the left hand side, and the Melrose sits nestled below the Eildon Hills. Those three distinctive peaks you often see when driving north on the A68. These hills are a great visual reference point from the air. They're unique, easy to spot, and they actually mark the halfway point in our Scottish leg of the flight. The wind conditions around these hills can occasionally give light turbulence depending on the direction, so just small adjustments on the stick keep the Eurostar nice and balanced. So I took a small descent below the clouds as they were quite low. As we continue north, the huge open shape for the Firth of Forth begins to appear ahead. Edinburgh lies far off to the left still, but we won't be going anywhere near their approach lanes today. Instead, we're angling north-east, staying well clear of the controlled airspace and aiming for our line through Fife towards Perth, and then the coastline ahead helps visually, the river widening into the Firth and then opposite coastline rising into sight. This is one of the prettiest sections of the Plight in good visibility, lots of open water reflections if the sun is low. So we're now heading towards the Fife, which sits on the north side of the Firth of the Forth. To the right you'll see Lomond Hills, two big noticeable lumps in the landscape you can't miss. Fife is well populated, towns like Glenrothes, Kilcaldy, Cupar, all dotted lines around the landscape. But the good thing is that between them all there's still loads of open land and safe places to ditch if needed. I always like this stretch because it feels like you're almost back home. Once you cross Fife, you're basically on the final for Perth. As we angle north, you'll eventually see Perth itself far ahead and sitting beside the River Tay. The airfield's slightly northeast of the town, so I usually prepare my descent here, aiming for circuit height well before entering the zone. Perth is a busy airfield, lots of training, helicopters, microlights and fixed-wing circuits going on. So good radio work, good lookout and a tidy joiner key. We'll start reducing the power slightly to begin our descent and setting ourselves up for a standard overhead join depending on runway in use. Usually 2.1 or 2.7, but it does change. So as we get closer, we're listening out for traffic and reporting our position. Perth radio is usually excellent and really helpful. You want to join in a way that keeps clear of training circuits and gives you enough space to fit into the pattern smoothly. Descending overhead, keeping the field on the left and then slotting into the downwind. That's a normal routine. Perth's runway layout is so simple and the circuit spacing is generous. I'm now on my final approach, configured stable approach and just letting the Eurostar settle. The Eurostar floats nicely when you reduce power early and holds the altitude. So I'm just easing her down now towards the threshold, and touchdown should be gentle. The aircraft naturally wants to land softly and then it's just a case of rolling out, exiting the runway and taxiing back to parking. Another smooth run from the south completed. And that's us, safely back, touchdown at Perth, a brilliant little cross country, loads of scenery and just a really enjoyable leg in the Eurostar. If you enjoyed the trip, please give the video a like, drop a comment below and subscribe for more flying around Scotland, the North East and anywhere else I get a chance to go. Thanks ever so much for watching and I'll see you on the next flight.